Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Golf Industry Business Seminar. We are very excited to have Will Robbins of Will Robbins Golf on the webcast this morning. Will is the owner and CEO of Will Robbins Golf. He's also a graduate of the Northwood University 2000 and Monterey Peninsula College before that from 96 to 98. He is the champion of a new and creative way to teach and coach that really grasps the point of view of the work-life balance of the golf instructor. Will, thank you very much for carving out some time to be with us this morning. Welcome to the GIBS seminar. Yeah, absolutely. Really happy to be on. Very excited to get this opportunity. A big thank you to all of you for taking the time. You know, I know how busy life is. I also know how many Zoom meetings a lot of us are on. So I really appreciate you all being on today. I want to make it as, productive as possible. So if you have questions, please just go in the chat box, fire it. You can raise your hand. You can interrupt me and ask a question. I mean, I want you to leave today knowing that the things that we talk about are things that you're actually going to implement right after this call rather than a bunch of information. Okay. Because the thing is, information is free, right? You can go on YouTube and you can go and learn all this stuff, but actually putting it into play is the most important thing. And that's why you're a golf professional and why you're successful, is that people could go and buy Tiger Woods, How I Play Golf, and they can go and watch Rick Shields on YouTube and then go and read Golf Digest, but they come to you because you know how to take all the information, simplify it down, put it into their hands and get them to actually do it on a golf course. And so today what I want to do is just show you, how you can start to look at your business and your clients and help you to just be more productive, right? To be more productive in your time, more productive in the money that you make. And obviously, number one is get better results for your players faster. So just to give you a little bit of background on me is I have Will Robbins Golf up here in Sacramento, California. We have 3 locations. We've been running coaching programs since 2008. And I was blessed to partner up with the PGA of America 4 years ago and really start to help develop and build out PGA coach for them and talk about the modern coach. Well, what does that look like? So I'm very blessed to do that. Today, though, I'm going to be talking to you as a fellow member and from RGX, which is our company that basically coaches coaches, right? So I'm going to be pretty direct with you. I'm going to tell you, the things that I see that work and don't work. I'm going to answer the questions honestly and really help you, I believe, to achieve the goals that we all desire. Because I think all of us got into the golf industry because we love to play the game, right? We just loved it, right? It was our passion. We also love to share that passion with others. So we love to teach the game and we love to help people improve at the game. And what I see time and time again, I'm in my 10th year now as a PGA member, so I have not been around a long time, okay? But what I see is that we got in for that reason, and then we took on some other roles, like being in the pro shop and having to work some hours there, and then doing inventory, and then running tournaments, and then being behind the computer and getting the the numbers in, and just the telephone calls and all of those things. And what ends up happening usually is our games deteriorate to the point where we don't even want to go on the golf course because we don't have time. Now, hopefully you're saying, well, I completely disagree. I play golf every day. I have lots of work-life balance and I make a ton of money. Way to go, you're a modern coach. What I see, though, is a lot of coaches saying, well, I work too many hours. I don't really play much golf anymore. And, I'm sort of losing that passion for what I do. And so I'm going to just show you what I believe to be the problem in the industry and then give you the solution. So does that sound good to everybody? Anyone that's on video, give me a thumbs up. Let me make sure that you hear me and everything. All right, so let's make this happen. So as you can tell, I'm from Mobile, Alabama, and I was born and raised, but I came to this country, and I'm going to show you this first slide, because truly there's nowhere better in the world than there is of understanding capitalism. Okay, and I think it's the greatest thing out there. Okay, I'm not talking political because I can't vote because I'm still English and my wife's American. But the idea is that what we've got to start to look at is in the golf industry, we've got to look at what does capitalism actually look like. Okay, what is the concept behind this? Because what I find is that most golf pros have lost the theory of capitalism. And what I mean by that is that any company that you look at anywhere in the world has one real way of being successful, right? In this terms of
It's this, how do I solve a problem? That's it. That's all there is. It's like everything you look at, whether I look at this mouse or if I look at my iPhone or if I look at this bottle that I'm drinking for, it solves a problem for me, okay? And so depending on how big the problem is how much people will pay for it. So that's really the whole focus of what capitalism is, right? It's like solve a problem, bigger the problem, the more I'll pay for it. Now, there are two other parts to that that will accelerate the success of that business. So the second one is how fast can you solve that problem? Okay, so if you can come and you've got this huge problem and somebody can solve it like in an hour, it's more valuable to someone that says, well, I can solve it for you in a year, right? And so you've got to start to see the bigger the problem, the faster you solve it. And then finally, the more times you solve that problem for the more people, the more money you make. So this is the real concept of, if we take ourselves out of the golf industry and just look at business and start to understand that, we're going to really start to change the way we think about the way we teach the game of golf and the way we make our offers. Because if you think about this, what we do in the golf industry is we say, okay, so I can solve a problem. Well, yeah, but I don't tell anybody that. What I can do is I can give you 1 hour of my time. So I'm going to give you 1 hour of my time. And if I'm good, I'm going to be $100. If I'm really good with some technology, I'm going to be 150. And if I'm insanely good and I teach a bunch of tour pros, I'm going to charge 300. So that's good. I mean, that's capitalism in a way that we're increasing the amount we charge. But there's a limitation to it, is that you are the problem, that you've only got 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Unfortunately, that some people are out there 12 hours a day coaching. So you're limited in how you can scale your business. And so the first thing that we've got to start to understand is that we solve problems for people. You have to stop thinking about selling time. Because if you think of it this way, right? Think of it this way. If you have the worst slice ever, I mean, a horrible slice, and you're shooting 110, all right? And I say to you, I can give you 50 lessons for $1,000 and I'll fix your slice. And over the next 5 months, we're going to fix your slice. And it's 1,000. And I say to you, I can fix your slice in one lesson and you'll head to the first tee right here and you'll actually be hitting it great and you'll break 100 for sure. You've been shooting 110, but I charge $1,000. Which one is more effective? You know, anybody who owns a company doesn't want to spend 50 hours with you. They're too busy with their family, with their life. They want a solution. This is why online quick fixes sell, right? This idea of buy the XYZ gadget fix, because someone goes, oh my goodness, if I get this, whatever it may be, I won't say any names, right? It'll fix my slice forever. Now, we all know it's probably not going to fix their slice. It's probably not going to get them more distance. But in their mind is, they want the magic bullet. If there is a magic bullet in the game of golf, it's called go to your PGA coach and work with them on the golf course to teach you how to play the game of golf. It's not buy a swing clicky thing that's going to help you golf swing. But understand that people are looking for the result. But what we always do is we sell 10-hour package, 5-hour package. But when I go to the dealership, I don't look to go and buy a car and go, oh wow, you know what? Its engine is 6-cylinder V whatever 8. You can tell I'm not a car guy, right? And I look at it and go, wow, that looks good. Wow, that sounds good. Wow, I'd feel great in that car. I buy based on the result, which is how I'm going to feel in that car, right? And so what we've got to start to look at here is we've got to change our thinking to, we've got to become problem solvers, solution providers, people that get somebody from A to B. Now, you all are saying, but I do that. But do you market it that way? Or do you say 5 for the price of 4? Buy 8 lessons and get 1 free. You know, buy a pack and it's $20 cheaper. What you're doing there is you're selling your time. And nobody comes to you to spend 45 minutes with you. They come to you because they desire to get out of a bunker. They desire to hit it further. They desire to, let's think of other things, get into high school golf. They desire to play college golf. They desire to get over anxiety on the first tee box. So what we've got to start to understand is when we look at great companies, think of the great companies. There's nobody better in the industry right now than Amazon. They solve lots of big problems really quickly for lots of people. And if you think about it, they say, well, they're only a pair of batteries. I'm ordering some batteries. That's not a big problem. Well, yeah, but you bought a birthday present for your child that didn't come with batteries, and now they're crying, and you have 2-hour Amazon. That's That's really key that it gets there in 2 hours and it shows up. So they're solving these problems. I'm not having to go to a store and pick it up. I don't have time tomorrow. So they're giving me my time back and they're giving me my solution. This is why they're the largest company in the world. And the other one that we might want to look at is what we all have. Where's my iPhone? Oh, it's sitting right here. This thing solves lots of problems. It's my calendar. You know, it's how I contact people. It's how I email people. It saves me time. Because if you all remember back, probably, I don't know, what, 15 years ago, a phone was free. Remember, you used to get the phone for free and you get the phone, you sign up for the plan. And then these became $1,200. But every single one of you will spend, I believe, $1,200 on this phone, because if you took this out of your pocket, you wouldn't get the results that you need to get. And so what we've got to start to look at here is, how are we going to go about getting results and being known for getting results instead of somebody that fixes people, or, you know, somebody that has a good price, or somebody that has lots of certifications or has lots of technology. Those are part of your brand. Those are part of how you get to the solution, right? But if any of you have been in pain, right, and you've got a bad neck or a bad back, I don't care if my chiropractor used the dolphin table or this thing that flips your legs or the thing that pulses on you. I don't care. Just get rid of the pain. And if he told me, well, I can do it in 14 sessions over 14 weeks, I'm like, I will pay you anything to get out of pain right now, which is why people will take medication, because it will take the pain away right away. And that medication might be extremely highly priced. So what we're just trying to talk about here is, let's shift away from this idea of let's sell time to let's sell results. So for anybody that's on the call that's got their video on, give me a thumbs up or in the chat box. Is this making sense to everybody? We've got a shift over there. There we go. I see some thumbs. Kevin, thank you, Sarah. Okay, so as we look at that, how do we start to make that shift? So what we've got to start to look at is, what's the ROI that people are going to get from getting coaching from us? Okay, you see, because a lot of people, you know, we're thinking they want time, right? Oh, I'm going to sell them 20 lessons, or I'm going to sell them 5 sessions a week. And it's really what they want is results. So what we've got to start to look at here is, when we're making offers to people, what's more enticing? 10 one-hour lessons, you know, let's say this, 3 one-hour lessons, 3 group coaching sessions, and 3 on-course playing lessons. There's package 1. Or 10 shots off of your game, guaranteed in 10 weeks if you're shooting 90 and above. 10 shots, 10 weeks. Or go and have some lessons, go and do some short game sessions, and go on the golf course with somebody. Now, they're the same package, right? That's what you do inside of the coaching program. So someone can work on their swing with you one-on-one, they can work on short game under pressure, and then get on the golf course and learn how to play. But the idea is, people want the ROI. What am I going to get? So the biggest shift that we've got to start to make, and many of you start to do this with speed training, 25 yards in 5 weeks. Now that is exciting. I mean, I know you might say, well, it's a bit of an infomercial, but it's like, well, this is how people purchase things. Now, if you can't provide the result on the back end, then you're a salesperson that's basically a scammer, right? You're not a salesperson. You're a coach who's an expert that gets results. For example, Butch Harmon could tell you, yeah, come and work with me, and there's a really good chance, if I want to work with you and commit to working with you, that you're going to win a major and become number one in the world. Why? Because go down the list of people, from starting with Greg Norman all the way through, and Dustin and Phil, who become number 1 in the world and won majors. So the idea here is that when we do something like Mach 3 or speed training with speed sticks, and we have a program, guess what? The priority goes up, because people go 25 yards in 5 weeks. I'm going to do it Thursday night at 5. Now I'm going to have to get my wife to pick up the kids, because I'm not really picking up the kids, but this is a priority to me. Because if they don't see a return on the investment, they don't show up. And the biggest thing that I get from all the pros that I get to talk to all over the world when I travel, I say, what type of player do you want? You know, and I'm asking with this intent in mind. Do you want a single-digit handicap? Or do you want a high handicap? Do you want females, males, juniors? But I'm like, what type of players? And inevitably, if I ask a couple more questions, I just want someone who's committed. I just want someone that shows up, that does the work, that really wants to get better, because it inspires me. And I think that every one of us here, I was talking to Dan Boobany about this the other day, one of our mentors, we want to leave a legacy. We want to impact people's lives. Because when we get a text saying, I just won the club championship, I just got a college scholarship, we're like, as PGA pros, that's like, yes, this is why I do what I do. This is why I love what I love doing. Because somebody committed to what you knew would get them better. So the way to do this is if you make the offer something where they're going to get a very clear result and they're going to get it quickly, it's really going to help you to get people to buy into it because they're going to see. And again, you go across the golf industry and look, and you see the things that people buy, such as $750 drivers to get 17 extra yards. They believe they're going to get the 17 extra yards, even though they've bought the same type of driver for 5 consecutive, seasons or every other year. And they probably haven't got that 17 yards, but the belief is there. So what if you could actually be the real solution, the person that actually increases club head speed and ball contact and made them hit it 17 yards further? So this is where I want you to really start to shift to think that if you really want to have life balance, if you want to make great money, if you want to be branded as one of the best, you've got to start to look at the best in our industry already do this and have already done this. And any of you are on the call are like, yeah, well, I've got a lot of success. I'm like, well, I guarantee this is what you're doing. Because if you look at Dave Peltz, he's probably not going to work on speed training. If you look at Bob Rotella, he's probably not going to work on the short game. If you go ahead and look at Jamie Mulligan, I mean, look at the guys, look at the coaches in SoCal, right? I mean, from Rick, from Jamie, I mean, they get PGA Tour wins. That's what they do. They get FedEx Cup wins. So you go to them based on the results. And I know when you go and see Jamie, it's this is what we do. We're getting on the course and this is how we're going to do it, So to me, we might say, yeah, but they're so far above us. I work with people that shoot 90, right? And 100 and 110. I don't work with any tour players. So for me, it's like, yeah, but I can be that guy inside of my space. You could be that girl inside of your space with 9-year-old juniors or beginner ladies, whatever it is. What we want to start to do is what does the person in front of us want and how do we get them to that goal? So as we start to understand that, we shift from selling our time to solving a problem, right? And this is really the biggest shift, and it's a small shift, but it makes a massive change, is you've got to look at every one of your pieces of technology that you've purchased. Why did you buy it and what does it do? Let's just say you've got TrackMan. Okay, yes, I can optimize a driver. I can yardage gap. I can combine. Every one of those, that will get someone to hit their wedges closer to the hole. Okay, that will save strokes. They'll get them more consistent on ball striking. It'll add distance and control. It'll add confidence. So what I want you to do is go through each of those and then certifications. Let's say you did Mark 3. Okay, I did Mark 3, so I've got speed training so I can get people to hit it further. And what we've got to do is start to look at who do I have that I'm teaching right now that I know wants to hit it further? Because if I went out and reached out to them and said, listen, I know how frustrated you are. You're 65, you're getting old, you're always complaining about how far you don't hit it. I've got a solution for you. I want to run this by you. I want to get you 20 yards, and I want you, along with 3 other people, you guys are going to be my guinea pigs, and I'm going to prove to you that I can get you to hit it further again. These people will jump at the idea because it's not a gimmick. It's you're a professional with a proven path on how to do it. Now, once you've done it once, and those testimonials are up, whether you use Facebook or it's in your club or it's on the walls or however you decide to do it through your website, once the proof is there, that's now a product that provides a solution. Now, obviously, the beauty behind this is that if you have 4 or 6 or 8 people doing speed training, you're not making $100 an hour. You're not making $200 an hour. You're making $300 or $400 or $500 an hour, depending on how you set that up. And we'll talk about that here in a bit, because people want the problem solved. So as we shift over to this idea of, how am I going to solve a problem? This is where the biggest, I would say, let me put it in a positive way, challenge comes for the PGA professional, okay? So my experience has been that the PGA professional has the absolute servant heart, and I'll prove it to you. I speak to most of you, and most of you would say, yes, I work most Saturdays, I work Sundays, I miss things for my kids, and I work 50, 60, 70 hours a week, some of you even more than that, and I'm committed to my members, and if a member called at night, you'd answer the phone. I mean, you have a servant heart, to the point where it's an Achilles heel. And so what we have here is that when we are in the pro shop, when we're a director of golf or a head pro, for whoever you are, at heart, we're a coach. We can play the game and we can coach the game. But we get stuck in this servant mentality, which becomes the pain point for us. Because as we walk down to that driving range and our player says, yes, I'd like a 1-hour lesson working on driver, we say, yes, Mr. Smith. And what we need to say is, Mr. Smith, I saw your tournament scores and I know how your putting is. And what we need to do is you need to listen to your expert. What we need to do is we need to go and work on your putting, your chipping. We need to go and get on the golf course. We need to do speed training. you have to become the leader. And this is where, to me, the struggle begins. Every pro that I speak to, right? And I've worked with coaches in Australia, New Zealand, and China, and South Africa, and Namibia. I mean, everywhere you go, in Botswana, and Canada, and America, everybody. Everyone says, well, Will, I'm in a unique situation. Yes, you are. But your situation internally is not unique. We've been a servant, which is a wonderful thing to be, right? But we need to become a servant leader, which means I care more about the result that you are desiring, that I need to give you what you need, not what you're asking for. Because what you don't need a driver lesson. Your driver doesn't go in play and it doesn't go anywhere except for in the trees. What you need to do is learn how to hit a hybrid. What you need to do is learn how to get off the first tee. What you need to learn how to do is work on how to lag putt with inside of 3 feet. And so to me, as we start to look at this is embracing this, where when you start to talk to your students, it's this idea of, I want to understand where you want to get to. And then I want to be honest with you and build a plan for you. And if we have what's listed out, so remember, the first thing I'm asking you to do is, what is the technology that you have? What are certifications you have? What's the education that you have? What's the experiences that you have that prove that you can solve certain problems? How many kids have you got a college scholarship for? How many kids have you got into high school? I was talking to Brian King the other day, and I've worked with him for 5 years. And every year he has about 30 to 36, 37 kids try out for the high school team. Every single year, every one of them makes it, bar usually one. And one will get a little bit of anxiety and decide not to qualify. Just, I'm not going to do it, I'm uncomfortable. But it's literally a 99% rate. So he knows what a middle school kid needs to go and become a JV or a varsity player on the high school team in Chicago. So what we've got to start to do is become the expert and realize that if we're the expert, we can charge the amount that we deserve, but not charge them that amount. Because remember, if I'm getting the result for multiple people quickly, instead of them paying $100 per lesson, they might be paying $50. But guess what? I've got 8 people there, so I'm making $400 in the same hour that I would have been making 100 teaching them. So the beauty here is they're not doing the math of, okay, but hold on, you've got 8 people here, so times 50, you're making $400. No, you just hit the ball 17 yards further. Way to go, I should charge more money. It only took you 17 minutes, 24 minutes. Like, the faster I get you the result, the more money you should pay. Everything in the world is that way, except when it comes to golf instruction, we sell time. And this is why we're so limited, because we work 40 hours in the shop and then we've got to jam out there and do 5 one-on-ones, instead of saying, let's go on the golf course and take a foursome or 2 foursomes out there and go and play a game and teach you how to score. And so if you think about this, coming back to capitalism, right, this idea of, if I've got to send something very important, I had to send my son's passport information back to the UK so he can get his UK passport, right? It was his American passport I was sending, so he had no way of leaving the country. Do you think I stuck that in the mail for 59 cents and sent it to England, or maybe 89 cents and sent it to England? Or do you think I spent $112, because that's what it was, to send it UPS next day, guaranteed? Of course, I sent it UPS. Why? Because the value of what was inside there was valuable to me. So if your child getting onto a high school golf team is valuable to you, you're going to go ahead and say, yes, coach, tell me what to do. I mean, think about this. For any of you who've got kids, my brother and sister-in-law live down in Southern California, down in Mission Viejo, and I look at their soccer schedules and their soccer practice. Swimming, I mean, swimming's insane. It's like every morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, 5 days a week, you've got to get out there, and then swim meets 6 a.m. till 3 on a Saturday. But the parents are like, oh, that's what we have to do. Yeah, okay, let's go. And we do this for juniors, but we get to adults. Oh, well, Mr. Smith, you're a successful businessman. So no, Mr. Smith, this is what you have to do. This is what we're going to do. If you want more distance, we're going to get you a new driver after you add 5 miles an hour club head speed, which means we get your body in shape, which means I'm TPI certified, which means I need to go ahead and run through your TPI screening and go through that process and build that out for you. And so the idea here is we have got to be able to go ahead and leverage all these tools that we have to become the authority. Let me take a look here. So Kevin, Will, do you feel the need to explain how this works to your students, or do they just know this is how things work and this is how learning should work? Kevin, that's such a great question. I think each student's an individual, right? In terms of, if they've done lessons for a long time, I kind of need to explain it to them. I need to say, look, just want you to understand who I am as coach. The reason why I can guarantee shots is this. I'm going to be the leader, and I'm not going to sit on a range and have you hit shots and then say, oh, nice shot. Oh, your face was closed. Your face was open. Your spin rate was this, and give you answers because you're becoming dependent on me. I want you to be independent of me, which means I've coached you how to play and manage your own game on the golf course. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. So that means when I set you homework, I expect you to do it. And if you don't do it, we come back. You're not going to see me very happy. You want to make me happy because I want to make you happy because we're guaranteeing to a result. So I'm going to have that conversation. Whereas if it's a brand new beginner who's never, or never taken lessons, I'm going to say, look, this is how I get results. It's very simple. What business are you in? And they say, let's say they're a mechanic, or they're a realtor. Then you just relate it to them. You say, okay, well, I imagine when you bring a car in, right, you hook it up to some stuff and you figure out what's wrong. Yep. And then you go ahead and figure out the process to fix it. And then you come up with the price, and then you tell the customer the price, and then you fix it, and then you guarantee it, right? Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, me too. That's what I do. So this is this process that every one of you to become an expert has to start to assess. What so many of us do is me too, right? When I used to teach is ask 4 or 5 questions and okay, good, right? Let's fix you. No, I don't know how you swing. Right? I remember one Joe Clausen. One of the worst golf swings I've ever seen, and he admitted it. It was over the top like this. But we started out on a golf course, and I saw this guy shoot 42, and I was like, that's a miracle. That's unbelievable. He just owns his own golf swing. I'm not going to touch his golf swing because there's no point. It's going to be painful, and he's going to lose control. Let's get his short game better. Let's get him managing his expectations a little bit better. So to me, it's really this process of, communicating to people what they actually need to achieve their goal. And that's really the key behind being a great coach, right? It's communication. So let's actually just bring this up, right? We've got to put steps in front of our players that simplify things. Because so often, let's just raise our hands and be honest, right? We get on a lesson tee, we see your face shut or face open, we see a swing out to in, and we instantly go, right, let's start fixing it. But how much work have we done? For example, let's just be honest. If you can go in there, you can either go in the chat box and give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs up in person. How many of you send a questionnaire to your students before they come out to their first lesson, asking them what are their goals, what have their experiences been to this point, what are their limitations, and what's their commitment? How many of you actually do that? Don't lie, be honest. You can be honest with yourself, but do you do that? Because let's think of it this way. If you went to go ahead and you thought you had some, let's say you think you have a rotator cuff, injury, okay? And you're like, okay, I think I got a rotator cuff injury. And you went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, the surgeon's here. He can do a deal. He'll actually do it for $400 less right now. And he came in with a scalpel. You'd be like, whoa. Like, let's do some movement. Let's check it out. Let's do like an MRI maybe. Let's assess before we cut, right? Well, we're like, oh, scalpel, let's go. So what we want to start to understand is like, where do people actually, oh, Kevin, that's awesome. I just started doing that 2 years ago, right? So I want to understand, what does this person think? How much are they going to commit to practicing? Where do they want to get to? What do they think they need to know? Because remember, most of them show up thinking like, I need my driver to be better. I need to be more consistent and not hit a slice. And you're like, you had 41 putts, you can't get out of a bunker, and you lose 6 golf balls around. You need to get rid of your driver, learn how to putt, and learn how to get out of a bunker, and you shoot 89. But they think they need something else. So if step 1 isn't assessing and clarifying, you've already lost the game, in my opinion. And think of this, the more you assess, okay, the higher the expert. Because if you're going to have brain surgery, you're going to have multiple MRIs. You are going to have all sorts of EKGs. You are going to have everything to make sure it's right. And that surgeon's going to come in and do exactly, he's not, well, we're going to give it a shot here or there. They're going to do exactly what they have to do. So what we, as an expert, if we want to sell results, we've got to take the time to ask a lot of questions before they get there, because most people, when they show up at a lesson, like, holy smokes, I'm in front of somebody new. Give them some time to think about it. Go on the golf course and play golf with them. Like, that's my biggest thing for all of you is like, if you want to see how someone plays golf, play golf with them. Don't see them on a driving range. Get on a golf course. And then from there, if you're TPI, go and do a screening. If you got TrackMan, run through a combine. If you do whatever you do and your expertise are at, add that into your assessment. Now think about this. If someone says, wow, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get a video and have this, and my assessment's $250 or whatever it may be, isn't that showing them like, holy smokes, like this person's really going to plan it out. And then in step 2, you're physically going to plan this out for them. So to start with, just to let you know, we're going to work on putting, because I know you want to work on driver, but here's why. I'm the expert. You've got to help them to understand the journey they get on, because most people do not complete their lesson series. You all know that, right? I mean, 85% of people at least do not. I've heard even higher numbers at certain places that don't complete, right? So you've got maybe 15 to 20% of people that will complete lessons. Now, I'm not saying that's the normal coach. You're all on this call, which makes, I believe, you're investing into your own business. So you've got a much better attention than that. But people lose interest when they don't know where they're going, because they're just on this journey. Like, I don't know, there's 90 at the end, but I'm changing my grip. I don't feel comfortable. I'm hitting it worse. They don't have a structure to get results quickly and understand where they're going. And then once they understand that and the commitment, now you can hold them accountable to that. And then step 3 is we make changes, we address new things, we change it up, we see what's working, we see what's not, and we make these little adjustments inside of the plan until we get to that guaranteed result. And what I love about the guaranteed result, and we're going to talk about this here, is that when the result's guaranteed, you are now a coach. Because as they would say, your ass is on the line. They'd say that in America. Okay, it's not an English thing, but your ass is on the line, because if you don't win, you get canned, right? So now you have to coach to performance, not to feel, not to, oh, I don't feel good today, or I feel happy, or it feels nice, but I'm not hitting it good on the golf course. You coach to the ball going in the hole. What does it take to get that player there? So Holly right here, first lesson I factor in 20 minutes at no charge to the student to be an in-person chat assessment, personal preference to do this as opposed to sending a questionnaire. Yeah, I think, Holly, it's up to you. To me, though, my time is extremely valuable, as is theirs. Actually, to be honest, their time's more valuable. I think most people as well, they need time to think about stuff. And so if you have really defined questions that are sort of, explain to me which one of these would you most like to get? Would you like to break 100, break 90, or break 80? Where do you think the biggest struggles are in your game? Short putting, lag putting, chipping, pitching. The more you can help them, the better. Now, obviously, if they're a scratch golfer, they'll know a lot more of this, right? But I mean, the more that they can do that before the lesson and I can read it, the better. The less that I give away for free, the better, because I don't see iPhone being like, by the way, this is free. And if it is free, I now pay $150 a month for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's even more expensive. So to me, I would just challenge you to get productive with your time and send that out beforehand, so that when you get there, you're talking from experience. Because again, if you go and speak to, if you speak to a brain surgeon, when do you get to that brain surgeon? Well, first of all, you go to the nurse and the nurse tells you, hey, this is what you need. Then you go to the doctor, then the doctor goes to the specialist and the specialist goes to the brain surgeon. So you're trying to do all the stuff downstream as effectively as possible, because you are very limited on time, so that when you are in a session, again, you're able to take 4 people on the golf course. Because think about this, most people say, I'm $100 an hour. And yeah, you can get a lesson on next Friday. You call me or one of my coaches and they're going to say, yeah, well, first of all, what I'd love to do is I'm going to ask you some questions about your game to get to know you. And after those questions, so that's sort of on the call that you could almost make 15 to 20 minutes if you want to do it there. I'm going to send you a questionnaire with more about this. You're going to send it to me. And then my first session's on the golf course. I'm going to play 9 holes. I'm going to see your game, understand all elements of your game. It might be your driver, but I also want to see short game, chipping, putting. And then we're going to go ahead and after that, build out an entire plan showing you where you want to get to based on your goals and your commitment levels. And then I'll guarantee those results. And at that point, you'll get to see the program that fits you, it fits your budget, it fits your goals. And if you want to work with us, then we move forward from there. How much is it? It's $100. Well, let's just say mine's $150 and a private lesson's $150. So it's the same price. So you can have a 9-hole playing lesson with a game assessment for $150 or a 1-hour lesson for $150. You know what I mean? So I think I'm already ahead, right? Because people are like, well, I'll try that out. It comes with a green fee, it comes with range balls. But I've got 4 people with me. So I'm out there for 2.5 hours at $600. So you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're just ahead, and I pay green fees to the golf course, you know what I mean? $20 for the green fees for 9 holes. And I'm just ahead. So the idea here is that I'm not telling you what you have to do, but I'm just hopefully giving you the perspective of what you need to start to be thinking so you can take your expertise and put it in place to make it as effective as possible. So what I want you to think about right now is, what is your assessment process? What is your planning process? And then how do you execute? What tools do you use? What technology do you have? For me, right? Do you have a radar that somebody begin hitting from, a video, a speed training station, and you teaching. So there's 4 people working. If they're juniors, there's 8. And I'm walking the line, I'm working with them on what they need to do, and they're all getting what they need because they're looking for a result, not my time. Do you do on-course playing lessons? Do you do, speed training? Do you do exercise? What are the things that you do that you would add in that if you were going to guarantee 25 yards in 5 sessions or 10 or 3 sessions, what would you need to add in there? Well, I definitely want to add in my speed sticks. Great, add that in. I need to add. Stop thinking about the price. Stop thinking about will they do it. Think of the brain surgeon. Think of the mechanic. Think of someone selling a house. Look, they said they want a house on a golf course with 4 bedrooms in a good school district. It's 850,000, but their budget's 600. No, I understand that, but I'm going to show them what they said they wanted. And if they're not committed to that, we can say, well, we don't have to get 25 yards. We could get 20 yards. We could live off of the golf course because that's 750. We don't have to have a swimming pool. That's 650. The idea is we get so worried about, will people pay the money? Yes, they just spent $5,000 on a set of PXGs that they're going to hit like junk. They're a member of 2 country clubs that they spend $900 a month on each, and they can't break 90. And they go on golf trips that cost them 5 to 10 grand a pop, and they never break 90 at nice golf courses. Yes, they'll spend $5,000, $3,000, $10,000, $2,000, whatever the number is. They will do that. They go to golf schools. They go and do this stuff. So we've got to break out of our thinking of we're in the pro shop and how can I serve you to get out of the golf shop. I'm your leader. I'm your expert. I'm going to get you that result. Let's go and make that happen. And so just by shifting the way we think and the way we communicate with our players is what's really going to make that massive change, because they're going to see you as the leader. And yes, coach, not, well, I want to work on my driver. Oh, that's fantastic. And we're not going to. Once you do this, we'll work on your driver. Once you can put a hybrid in play for 18 holes, we'll work on 3-wood. How about that? But that would be in step 2, the plan. So you can't just blindly lead them and say, well, you don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to tell you what to do. That might work for some of you. For me, it's no, we'll get to driver. We're going to get you extra distance, but we've got to get you. You can see in TPI, you can't even do the squat. We're going to work on that so we don't injure your back. But while we're doing that, we're going to work on your hybrid and put you in play all the time and not lose 5 golf balls around. And then we'll get the 3-wood and then we'll get the driver. Oh, okay, I'm bought into that. They'll walk with you. So this is the skill of communicating, right? Is if you're not assessing and asking the right questions, if you're not planning and then explaining and then going and having a plan on how you execute, right? Which is coaching, which is like a coach is, I'm going to get fired if this doesn't happen. I think you're always going to having to be sell time and then get into that theory of the more I charge, the better I am, which is good for you. But to me, isn't it better? Because Amazon's always bringing down the price. Like Amazon's always the price. Oh, it's going to be the best price on Amazon. I'll buy there. So if I can get you 10 shots in 10 weeks for $1,500 and you can give them 20 hours of instruction or 30 hours of instruction for $1,500 or 10 hours over 12 months, and or whatever, whenever you want to come out, what's better? I'm better. If I could do it in 5 weeks, I should charge $3 grand. You know what I mean? Because I'm better at what I do. So as we look at this, and then I'm going to open up here for questions, it's about taking action, right? This is where I see paralysis analysis, okay? And this is where golf pros tend to critique their students, right? They're like, just stop thinking so much and just hit it. Well, okay, just stop thinking so much and do it, okay? You've also got the students like, well, I worked on Golf Digest and I did this and I watched this video and I watched this. Just have one plan and act on it. What we do is we go, well, I listened to that stuff that Will said and I looked at PGA coach and I think, but I got this, or, I'm not sure if I should do it this way or that way. Just do it. Just do anything. Just act on what you gut feeling know to go ahead and do. And so what I hear is people coming up with, well, I had a bad back, haven't hit golf balls in 3 weeks and stayed up late last night. I'm like, well, I'm glad you figured out you're going to play terrible today. It's, well, my members probably don't want it because I'm a high-end country club. Well, I just got a text this morning from Corey Zola at Colorado Country Club. That's about as high-end as it gets. Or Mike Dixon at Congressional, basically saying, hey, had the best year ever, unbelievable, killing it, everyone loves it, it's phenomenal, right? So that's not real. Oh, well, I don't know if I can get out the pro shop and have enough time. Okay, well, if you're going out for 2 hours and playing 9 holes and getting paid $400 or $500 to play 9 holes, could you do that twice a week to have some freedom? I don't care if you're director of golf, a head professional, general manager. You should be out there with your customers playing the game that you love. You should be out there connecting with these people and understanding how they're doing and understanding how the business is going, because you're going to hear things on the course from your members that you'll never hear in your office, but they'll tell you on the golf course while you play golf with them. So my biggest thing as we go into these questions is let's start to get specific on some of these things that we can help you with to ensure that you start to implement this. So yeah, let's open up for questions. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question, if you want to type a question in.
So Will, Kevin Spranger asked, do you, wait, I lost it here. Here we go. Do you feel the need to explain the philosophy to your students, or do you feel that that's kind of overload, or do they just know how things work and how the learning should work?
Well, yeah, and I think this is the part I would say that what I do with coaches, what my team does, 80 to 90% of it is how you communicate it. Because you have to understand that the industry is going that way, right? And we're going to go that way. But that way is downstream. That way is the success. That's the way that works, right? And so we're going against the norm. So to me, most people be like, well, Will, how do I price it? How do I schedule it? You know, what's the ratios? Look, it's really simple. Double your hourly income. So if you think of this, if you're going to be out on the course, you normally make 100 per hour and you want to make 200. Well, if your ratio is 4 to 1, right, it's half the price. You know, it's basically $50 per person, right? If your ratio is 2 to 1, okay, it's $100 for each, you know, it's $50, $100 for each of them. So the idea is you're looking to double your hourly minimum, right? That's what you're looking to do. How much time, and I'm going to come to sort of answer that question. How much time do you want? Well, who are the people you want to work with and what's the result they want to get to? You see, we think about it like, would they come out for 4 hours a week? I wonder if they'd do it, but that's not how an expert thinks. A great coach in high school goes, right, we've got to do physical training 4 days a week. We've got to do sprint training 2 days a week. You've got to get on this diet. You've got to work with this coach on a Monday. You've got to work with this coach. We've got to do gameplay. He doesn't go, will you come out to it? It's, if you would like to win the state championship, this is what we're going to do. Either come on my team or don't. Now, if I'm doing this with a group of ladies who are beginners, I'm probably not going to be that intense because their goal is they just want to get connected. They just want to meet other ladies. So my brain would be, wow, if we had once a week where they could come out, I'll ask a couple of them, see if they prefer to do morning or afternoon. I found out morning because it's just easier for them with the kids at school and stuff. Great, so we're going to do mornings. We're going to make it an hour so it's easy. And we'll do an 8-to-1 ratio because I can tell that's what they sort of feel. So then they're sort of not, you know, too smaller groups, so we're focused too much on them. So the idea is, who is it? Where do they want to get to? That's how you build the program. Now, how you communicate it is you starting to share with people your truth, which is, listen, I don't get any time with my family. Now, you might go, well, I can't say that to a member. Yeah, you can. You can say, look, I don't get any time with my family. I don't really get to play golf anymore. And I'm talking about these are your members that care about you, that you talk to and they know you. And you just share them and you start to show them like, look, I've got this idea. I want to start playing golf a couple times a week, just 9 holes. And I was thinking, you're one of the players that I love hanging out with. I want to get out there and play, but also coach. And I watch you guys on the range and I teach you every week and I kind of teach you the same thing and I'm seeing you get better, but I know I can get more for you. I want to give you the 5G experience. And I feel like I'm handcuffed right now with this 1-hour lesson model where you tell me what to work on. And I'm just frustrated. And I just think that if I got people on the course, I could be a better coach. And, you know, basically for the same $100 you I charge right now, we can go on the course for 2.5 hours, get a group together, play under pressure, have a ton of fun. Do you think I'm crazy? And they'll always be like, oh, that sounds brilliant, I'm in. And so then you get that feeling and that little start with pioneer teams, those little first teams, and they're like, no, this is brilliant, let's do this. Let's make it happen. So you might have one group of ladies that have wine and, you know, chip and sip or whatever you want to design it, you know, and you start to build this out and you start to realize that you're having more time, you're having more enjoyment, your life balance is coming back, they're getting better, they're playing more, they're spending more time at the club, they're bringing their friends. And it's like, oh, hold on, the #1 solution in the whole golf industry, as we start to see maybe a little bit of a downturn in the economy and people getting back to work, is the PGA coach is the one person that can get you to stay in the game, get you better at the game, bring your friends to the game, bring your kids to the game. Golf Now can't do that, no website can do that, no technology can do that. Us behind the technology can do it, but it's the PGA coach that can do that. So my challenge for all of you is that it's just about starting to take action, have those conversations. But it's really getting down to those beliefs for you. Have you had enough of watching the same person hit the same driver on the driving range for enough lessons? Now, if you're okay taking that $100 and doing it 22 times a year, that's good for you. Keep going. I'm not putting you down. For me, I got way too much ADD. I'm bored out of my mind after about 4 minutes. I'm like, let's go on the golf course. Let's go. So I want you to start to look at all these certifications, technology that you've got, and start to realize those are tools on your tool belt. Now let's go out and make you a leader. Let's make you an expert, and let's start to sell results. Because if you start to sell results, that's where you're going to see your price. Your price for other people will stay the same or go down. Your income and productivity will go through the roof.
So Will, it's fairly well known how frustrated you were with your side of the business before you came up with this model. Can you talk a little bit about the lineage in terms of how you developed this? Was it overnight? Was it over years? How close were you to leaving the business, and where did this brainchild, for lack of a better phrase, come from?
Yeah, so for me, it was, I was playing professionally, and I had an injury to my neck and I couldn't play for about 8 months, almost a year. I mean, I picked up a club after 8 months, but for a year. So I couldn't play, couldn't earn any money. A buddy of mine was a head pro at a course. He said, do you want to teach? I was like, no. I said, I don't want to teach, I want to play. And then I looked at my bank account and I thought, well, teaching wouldn't be a bad idea. So I started to teach, and I got on driving range. I remember the first day I came out for a lesson was Paul, and he stood on the range and he said about 15 things to me about his golf swing. I had no idea what he was talking about. He was like, I'm trying to release my hips and hold my leg. And then I'm like, okay, hit a couple golf balls. I'm like, let's go on the golf course. Let's go. Let's just go and play. I'm like, I don't know how to, I don't know how to fix you because you're too confused. Like, just let's get on the golf course and play a cut. We went out there and played, and I just knew me. It was like I was playing for a living, and it was like I knew how to get the ball in the hole, and I never had the best swing. Right? I was a scrappy golfer. I knew how to position the ball around a golf course and chip and putt like a maniac. Right? So I knew, like, that's what I believe in. That's my beliefs. Right? So I did that, and I went back to playing back and forward, and I'd go and play, shoot 72, so like Spanos Tour in Southern California and stuff, and the Canadian Q School and all that stuff, and go and shoot 73, 71, miss the cut, 74, 77, miss the cut, lose $5,000, come home, coach, have a ton of fun, enjoy it. And it took about 1.5 years before Dana Rader suggested, like, what about coaching? And I was like, oh, maybe I should coach. And then I decided, if I'm going to do this, I am not going to do this like everybody else, because I'll go crazy setting on a driving range. So I had 16 players. I sat down with all of them in a room and I said, look, here's the deal. I loved college golf. I got way better in college, right? And the deal was I played with all my buddies, and my coach was there, and we practiced together. And so over the next 12 weeks, you guys can come out. I'm going to be at the golf course these times. And you're going to come out. I had no idea what I was doing, like business-wise. I was just like, look, 12 of you, it was $957 each. My dad said, just pick a unique number. I was like, 957. It wasn't 1,000, right? And for 12 weeks, they came out, and the average player dropped 11 strokes. I had one guy go from 78 to 69. I had one guy never touch the golf club to breaking 100. I had people go from 95 to 75, 120 to 85. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And so that's where it sort of kicked off. But I just, for me, the group experience of coaching in teams and having your team around you and going, having drinks afterwards and celebrating people's success, and just everybody loved it. And then I did it again, and 22 people signed up, and it was now 10 weeks, and we made it $1,200, and then did it again, and it just got bigger and bigger. And then I started doing it with my high school kids, and then it just blew up from there. And I did it for my best friend who introduced me to my wife. He was working 6 half days, like 6 days a week, but like, an hour in the morning, an hour at lunch, an hour in the evening, just sporadic. He went from 6 days a week to 1 day a week and tripled his business. So he went from, he was doing 17,000, barely, just struggling by, to 57,000 working Saturday mornings. And that's when I sort of fell in love with the idea of helping coaches become entrepreneurs and coaching them, because most coaches don't have a coach. You don't have a business coach. We're not business people. We're golf coaches. We just love what we do. And so we pour our heart out into it. And what we end up doing is working too much and saying yes too much. So what we do is, again, we assess, we build a plan, we hold you accountable, and then we guarantee the results. So that's what I do for a living now, is I get to travel around the world and help coaches do that and help them to see these successes. And as I said, get texts every morning and emails, Will, I just did this, Will, I just did that. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable, because we are the solution, right? We can get people into the game of golf. We are the expert, and we need to start acting like the expert and trusting that we are the expert. And if we do that, then think about it. There's no wealthier game in the world than golf. Would you all agree? I mean, most people that play golf have a lot of money that are members of country clubs. The beauty is, most people that play golf are terrible. They're just not good. And I'm being honest. I mean, they're not good. And most people that want to play golf desperately want to get better. I mean, what better industry could we be in? Like, there's not a lot of people that go skiing that go and take hours of lessons and want to get a lot better. It's like, oh, I ski now, just going to go skiing. Golf, everybody wants to get better, but they don't see that they're going to get better because they took a lesson, had someone work on their grip, they got worse, so they decided not to take lessons. They've never been guaranteed 25 yards or 5 shots or 10 shots or whatever it may be that you offer. And so this is, to me, is where we can solve a massive problem to keep people in the game of golf and grow the game of golf more than anybody else in the industry can. There's no other position. You can't put a PGA professional in a position and say, okay, run a tournament and it will be a better impact than a coach. Okay, run a great pro shop. Okay, still not as good as a coach. Because think about it, if the person's not going to buy stuff, if they're not playing good golf and they know nobody at the club, but a coach can get you to meet people at the club and get you playing better golf, which makes you to play more golf, which makes you spend more money. So the catalyst is, are you activating people in the game of golf? Are you retaining people in the game of golf? And if you're doing that, you're a modern coach. If you're not, I'm not putting you down, but you're going to get left behind because, again, the future is most of my coaches, Dan Boubin, I just went through the other day, he just did his math on this. He's making well over 6 figures a year, 22 hours a week, full season, including admin. And he was working in the pro shop. Now he's making 6 figures, well over 100,000, 22 hours a week in the busy season in Arizona. And he loves what he does. He's in France right now. He just got back from Wimbledon. He's got 2 kids. He gets a life. Remember, experts get paid great and people come to them because they're experts. They get to choose their life. For some reason, we're at the bottom of the pile, not getting to choose our life, working our tails off, not getting paid great money, not playing golf, not seeing our family, and getting paid like we're some sort of like, servant that doesn't know what we're doing. It's like we're the expert at the game that they're not good at. So this is, you can see the passion I have behind it is that our goal obviously is to shift that, and that's a blessing one with the PGA and being able to, be a partner with them and help them along that journey.
Now, when there is a call for repetition with your students, you do spend time on the range with them. I mean, you do drill, you do prescribe. Can you talk a little bit about that dynamic that exists in your philosophy between coaching and actual teaching and repetition?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I just know that my students aren't going to practice very much. I just know that. If they're in high school, they've got crazy amounts of grades, they all want to get 4.0s and they want to work hard. So they're probably not going to practice a whole ton. My adults definitely aren't going to practice a lot. So what's the most effective way I can get them quick? Really good quick. So do I teach them on their own? Let them practice on their own? No, that's a horrendous idea because I'm going to teach them something and they're going to forget it right away and they won't do it. So I'm going to have them practice with their team with me watching. So I would prefer them to come out to supervised practice or coaching sessions, have them take notes and have them explain what they're doing to me, and then set them up against other people and put them in competition. So now they're practicing under pressure, even though they've maybe just learned the technique. It's like, yeah, let's do the drill 5 times. Okay, now can you do it under pressure? Because that's the only thing, right? Can you do it under pressure? And if you can't, it's too difficult. So let's take the pitching wedge away, and here's the hybrid, right? Let's chip with that. But I don't want to chip with a hybrid. No, you're going to chip with a hybrid because you can't chip under pressure with a wedge. So if the results are guaranteed and it's on my shoulder, oh, sorry, let me see that. Not sure what's going on there. But if the results are on my shoulder, I'm going to go ahead and focus on giving them what they need right now. And then, but I don't want to chip with a hybrid. Yeah, I know you don't want to chip with a hybrid. That's our goal, is not to chip with a hybrid, but you can't chip with a wedge right now. I'm the leader, like this is your choice. And so you can get very direct with them and they come in, they shoot their lower score. Coach, this is amazing. That's great, but you're still shipping with a hybrid. We've got to get to the wedge because what happens if you have to go over a bunker? Because there's no way of getting a hybrid over a bunker. So you're sort of giving them the fundamental tools, but then also showing them as your coach, you hit it nowhere. Like I need you to hit it further. You know what I mean? But you can't hit it further with a driver, but you're hitting it further with your hybrid now. So let's use your hybrid until we can get your 3-wood in play. So you're always striving to get their skill sets better. But when they play, you're like, that's what you have. Like you could hit driver and lose the ball, or we could hit 3 7-irons to the fringe of the green, 2-putt and make a bogey. Your choice, 8 or a 5. If you want to choose an 8, I shouldn't be your coach. If you want to choose a 5, you're going to shoot 90. You know what I mean? And it's they love it because they're finally being told what to do and they finally have a clear path and they finally understand how they're going to break 90. And they thought it was way off in the distance. And now they're like, I believe it. And then they do. And then they're your student for life because they're going to keep coming back with their friends and coming out for coaching sessions and going on trips with you and going and telling everybody that this is the person to go and see because they were the ones that actually got me to my result.
Will, this has been, to say this has been enlightening is the understatement of the year. for all of us, that paradigm about time and money, it's not rocket science, but like you said, these teachers, we aren't business coaches, we're golf coaches. And so that paradigm shift is truly amazing. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Absolutely.
On behalf of the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA, thank you so much for carving out the morning to present to the section. For all the PGA members that are on this morning's GIBS presentation by Will Robbins, you will receive 1 PDR credit for being on the webcast. For those of you that are viewing the GIBS after the fact through the SCPGA website on the education dropdown, the resource does exist there and you are able to access that. However, there is no PDR point for viewing the webinar after the fact. Will, thank you very much for coming on this morning. And also, I don't think Courtney was on this morning, but please extend our gratitude to Courtney for working with us and getting you dialed in this morning. We're very, very grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
I just say two quick things just to finish up, everybody, is if you haven't gone on to PGA Coach, there's hours of videos of us teaching how to do on-course playing assessments, how to build that programming. I mean, there's so much content there, right? If you want to get on a call with me and hop on and talk with the team and talk with me about where you're at, your unique opportunity, just reach out, right? rgxcoach.com, explore. If you want to text me, you can text me. I'll just put my number in here right now, 916-742-7785. That's my cell phone number. But again, if you need some help, if you need some support, I'm going to be down there on October the 17th presenting the Teaching Coaching Summit. But the biggest thing is take action, get out there today and start applying what you learn. Go and share it with 2 people, share it with 2 of your students, whatever thoughts you had, share it with them and the ideas that you're having and start that conversation going. Because if you start that conversation, it will absolutely change the way you do things. Because when you see people's faces go, that sounds amazing, let's do it. You're like, oh my God, now I got to schedule it and price it and put it all together. That's the beauty of this, is that the customer wants it. You just got to be willing to sort of break out of the mold and go with what you believe in. So John, thank you so much for having me on. Everybody, much enjoyed.
Thank you very much, Will. And we'll be sending out the recording to all the attendees. The YouTube recording, it will have Will's contact information on there as well. And I'll CC him in the email. Everyone else will be in the blind carbon copy. Thank you very much for supporting the GIBS and have a great day, everybody. Take care, Will.
Thanks.